Some more news now that we're tracking. Hundreds of passengers continue to be impacted with IndiGo services on the Istanbul-India sector breaking down for the second time in 2 days because of technical factors. IndiGo's Istanbul-Delhi flight scheduled to depart last night has been cancelled with passengers deboarded and awaiting further instructions. My colleague Vishnu Shom gets us more.
A real crisis at IndiGo Airlines, with a second consecutive flight from Istanbul to Delhi having been massively delayed. The flight, which was to take off late last night from Istanbul, has been cancelled. The flight on the previous day was also very badly delayed. As a result of this, with the very latest flight cancellation, IndiGo are being forced to fly in relief aircraft from India to Istanbul in order to get out the stranded passengers. These stranded passengers will have had to have waited close to 20 hours, if not more, by the time they can get on to these relief aircraft to fly them back to Delhi. This is because it takes the relief aircraft up to 7 hours to reach Istanbul from Delhi itself, assuming that the relief aircraft took off from Delhi. IndiGo's had a really nightmarish time, and certainly thousands of passengers over the last 48 hours. Flights from Istanbul to Delhi, as I mentioned, were delayed or cancelled. Similarly, flights from Istanbul to Mumbai were delayed or cancelled. Some of these flights did operate subsequently with very significant delays, but overall passengers impacted would number in the thousands. Why? Because passengers on the other end, in other words on the Delhi end, would also have been impacted. The aircraft which IndiGo operates on this route are leased Boeing 777s with very high density seating. They can carry 500 seaters in each aircraft. These are leased aircraft, as I mentioned, and if one single aircraft is badly delayed, it sets back flight operations. It's a cascading impact on passengers on either end. So it is a real crisis right now that the airline faces, but I think it's a bigger crisis for passengers who've been impacted on both ends, at the India end and in the Turkey end as well. The airline now being forced to fly in smaller A321 aircraft. So for a single relief flight for a Boeing 777, which carries 500 aircraft, they're sending in at least 2 A321neo aircraft.